On a sunny morning in March 2017, officers arrived at a house in West Palm Beach, Florida, to find a gruesome scene. A young woman, 21-year-old Brooke Preston, lay dead on the floor, stabbed multiple times. Her roommate, Randy Herman Jr., was arrested and taken into custody. He claimed he had no memory of what happened and that he was sleepwalking during the murder. But was this a valid defense or a clever cover-up? How could a childhood friend turn into a cold-blooded killer? Let's find out. Brooke Chantel Preston was a vibrant and beautiful young woman who had a passion for music, art, and travel, and dreamed of becoming a fashion designer. She had moved to Florida from Pennsylvania with her sister Jordan and her best friend Randy Herman Jr., whom she had known since childhood. Randy had a troubled past marked by addiction and tragedy. He grew up in Laceyville, a small town in Pennsylvania, with his parents and two sisters. His father, Randy Herman Sr., was a convicted felon who had been involved in several crimes, including robbery, assault, and murder of his girlfriend. However, when Randy was 16, his father took his own life, leaving Randy to his mother.
When Randy was little, if I wanted him to do something, I'd just pretend I was crying and he'd do it just so I didn't cry. And even when he got older enough to know that I was pretending and I was faking, he'd still do it because he didn't want to see me sad. All right, fine, just get that look off your face and I'll do it. He's always been very good kid, very supportive, very respectful.
Randy found solace in his friendship with the Preston family, who lived nearby. He became best friends with Jordan Preston, Brooke's older sister, and treated him like a brother. He also developed a fondness for Brooke, who was like a sister to him. The Prestons welcomed Randy into their home and gave him the love and support he needed. However, he also struggled with his own demons and fell into a pattern of substance abuse and legal troubles. He started to use drugs and alcohol at an early age and became addicted to opioids and methamphetamine. He also got into fights and was arrested several times for various offenses, including driving under the influence, disorderly conduct, and vandalism. He dropped out of college and lost several jobs due to his erratic behavior. In 2016, Randy moved to Florida with Jordan and Brooke, who had also decided to relocate for better opportunities. They rented a house in West Palm Beach and tried to settle in. At first, Randy seemed to be doing well. He got a full-time job and made some new friends. He also tried to step away from drugs. However, his stability did not last long. He soon fell back into his old habits and started to use drugs and alcohol again. He again lost his job and became isolated and paranoid. On March 24, 2017, Brooke, Randy, and another friend, Kyle, decided to spend the day at the beach. They brought along some alcohol and enjoyed the sun and the sand. However, as the day progressed, Randy became increasingly intoxicated and agitated. He started to act erratically, making inappropriate comments, picking fights, and throwing things. Kyle noticed Randy's behavior and tried to calm him down, but to no avail. Brooke also sensed that something was wrong with Randy and decided to leave the beach. She asked Randy to drive her home since he had the keys to the car. She told him that she was planning to move to New York soon to pursue her career in fashion. She also thanked him for being a good friend and said that she hoped they would stay in touch. On that night after the incident took place, Randy claimed that he had no memory of what he had done. He said that he woke up in his room and saw a knife on his nightstand. He then went to the living room and saw Brooke's body on the floor. He said that he was shocked and confused and did not know how she got there. He said that he must have been sleepwalking and that he had no control over his actions.
I didn't know what was happening. That's why I called 911. If I wanted to, I could have ran. But that wasn't what was on my mind. I didn't do this intentionally, and this was a person I cared about. This was a close friend, so, my mind was just, I was just in.
He then called 911 and told the operator that he had killed his friend. He said that he did not know why he did it, and that he was sorry. The operator tried to calm him down and asked him to put the gun down. He also asked him to check on Brooke and see if she was still alive. Randy said that he could not and that he was too scared to look at her. He then hung up the phone and waited for the police to arrive. Meanwhile, a neighbor who had heard screams and loud noises coming from the house also called 911 and reported a possible domestic dispute. The police arrived shortly after and found Randy sitting on the front porch. They then entered the house and found Brooke's body on the living room floor. She had been stabbed 20 times and had defensive wounds on her hands and arms. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The police arrested Randy and took him to the station for interrogation. He repeated his story of sleepwalking and said that he had no recollection of the murder. He said that he had a history of sleepwalking and that he had done strange things in his sleep before. such as walking, talking, and eating. He said that he had never been violent or aggressive in his sleep, and that he did not know what triggered him to kill Brooke. He continuously cried uncontrollably, showing remorse for his actions while hesitating to answer the officer's questions.
Who's Brooke? Huh? And who's Jordan? That's what we need to find out. Now, are they friends, girlfriends, wife?
You haven't told my mom yet?
No, nobody will. Do you want to be the one, or do you want us to make a phone call?
Like I said, this is Steve. I'm Jeremy. Basically, we just want to try to figure out what happened and what's going on. Okay? And we need your help for that.
Okay. What's Mom's number? Do you want to talk to Mom?
I can't.
Let me ask you an easy question. Who did you have the incident with? Is it Jordan, Brooke?
Brooke.
Okay, it's Brooke. Okay. And did she leave state?
Is Brooke alive?
Well, right now they're back at the scene. Everything is still developing.
You didn't just wake up today and say that something bad is going to happen or something good is going to happen. Things happen for a reason, Randy. Okay? You have to know. You know what happened. You just don't want to get it out, but you need to. Okay? It's tearing you up in there, Randy. You need to get it out. Okay? What is Brooke going to tell me happened? Okay? Is she going to say that you attacked her? Okay? What is she going to tell me? You need to do this now. All right? You need to do this for...
Randy was charged with first-degree murder and faced the possibility of the death penalty. He pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity and claimed that he was not responsible for his actions because he was sleepwalking. His legal team hired a forensic psychiatrist to evaluate him and support his defense. The psychiatrist diagnosed Randy with a rare sleep disorder called parasomnia, which causes abnormal behaviors during sleep, such as walking, talking, eating, and even violence. He said that Randy had a history of parasomnia and that it was triggered by a combination of factors such as stress, alcohol, drugs, and sleep deprivation. He said that Randy was in a state of automatism and that he was unaware of his surroundings and actions when he killed Brooke. He said that Randy was not insane, but that he was suffering from a mental defect that impaired his ability to form intent or premeditation. The prosecution, however, did not buy Randy's sleepwalking defense. They argued that it was a convenient and implausible excuse, and that Randy was fully aware and conscious of what he was doing. The trial lasted for 2 weeks, and the jury deliberated for 3 hours. They reached a unanimous verdict and found Randy guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison. He is currently serving his life sentence at the Hardy Correctional Institution in Florida. The verdict and the sentence were met with mixed reactions. Brooke's family and friends were relieved and satisfied and said that they finally got closure and justice for Brooke. They hoped he would suffer as much as Brooke did. They also said that they would always remember and honor Brooke, and that they would keep her legacy alive. Randy's family and friends, however, were shocked and saddened. They said that Randy was not a monster, but a human being who made a terrible mistake. They said that he was not guilty by reason of insanity, and that he needed help and forgiveness. Randy has not given up on his legal appeals and hopes to overturn his conviction and sentence. He has filed several motions, challenging the validity of the evidence, the jury selection, the instructions, and the verdict. He has also raised new arguments based on the sleepwalking defense and the latest scientific research on parasomnia. He claims that he has new evidence that proves his innocence and that he deserves a new trial. He says that he was denied a fair and impartial trial and that his constitutional rights were violated. Randy has also expressed his remorse and regret for what he did to Brooke. He says that he is sorry for killing her and that he wishes he could take it back. He says that he loved her and that he never meant to hurt her. He says that he was not himself and that he was under the influence of a sleep disorder that he could not control. He says that he is not a murderer but a sick person who needs help. He says that he is not asking for sympathy but for understanding. Whatever the reason, the case is a tragic and complex one that raises many questions and challenges. It is a case that involves friendship, betrayal, and violence. It is a case that tests the limits of the law, the science, and the morality. It also exposes the fragility and the mystery of the human mind. So, do you agree with Randy's claim of sleepwalking, or do you think it is just a way to cover up his crimes? Let us know in the comments below and subscribe for more content.